Hey, love, I'm just taking little Satan here down to Doggy Beach, alright?
Okay, Death, but don't be too long. Dinner will be on the table in about an hour and a half, alright?
Okay, love.
And don't forget, don't kill anyone. It's your day off.
Alright, love. See you soon.
Bye, sweetie.
Why me? When physical calamity befalls, the toughest thing for the victim to overcome is the feeling of resentment that it should have happened to him. Why me? He keeps asking himself dazedly. Of all the millions of people around, why me? It becomes like a pulse beat. Why me? Why me? Why me? Sometimes he reviews his whole life step by step to see if he can put his finger on some circumstance in which he may have been at such grievous fault as to merit disaster. Did he commit some black sin somewhere back down the years? Did he betray the sacred trust of some fellow human being? Is he being punished for some special wrongdoing? Why me? He wakes suddenly at night from a sound sleep to consciousness of his affliction and to the clock-like ticking in his brain. Why me? Why me? Why me? He reflects, why not that stinker Smith? Why not that louse Jones? Why not that bum Brown? Why me? Why me? Why me? Was he guilty of carelessness or error in judgment? Why me? Why? Why? It is a question that has been asked by afflicted mortals through the ages. It is being asked more than ever just now as the maimed men come back from war, broken in body and spirit and completely bewildered, asking, why me? I do not have the answer, of course. Not for myself nor for anyone else. I too am just a poor mug groping in the dark. Though sometimes I think of the words of young Elihu reproving Job and his three pals. Look into the heavens and see, and behold the clouds which are higher than thou. The book of Job may have been an attempt to solve the problem. Why the righteous suffer, and to point out that such suffering is often permitted as a test of faith and a means of grace. They sure put old Job over the hurdles as an illustration. He was a character who lived in the land of Uz way back in the times recorded in the Old Testament. He had more money than most folks have hay, and he was also of great piety. He stood good with the Lord, who took occasion to comment favourably on Job one day to Satan, who had appeared before him. There is no one like Job, remarked the Lord to Satan. He is a perfect and upright man. He fears God and eschews evil. Well, why not? Said Satan. You fixed him up so he's sitting pretty in every way, but you just let a spell of bad luck hit him and see what happens. He will curse you to your face. You think so? Said the Lord. All right, I'll put all his belongings in your power to do with as you please. Only don't touch Job himself. Not long afterwards, the Sabians copped all of Job's oxen and asses and killed his servants, and his sheep were burned up, and the Chaldeans grabbed his camels and slaughtered more of his servants, and a big wind blew down a house and destroyed his sons. But so far from getting sore at the Lord, as Satan had figured would happen after these little incidents, Job rent his mantle and shaved his head and fell down upon the ground and worshipped and said, Naked I come out of my mother's womb, and naked shall I return thither. The Lord gave, and the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. Now, had I been Satan, I would have given Job up then and there, but lo and behold, the next time the Lord held a meeting, Satan again appeared, and when the Lord started boosting Job for holding fast to his integrity, Satan sniffed disdainfully and said, Skin for skin, yeah, all that a man has he will give for his life. but just you touch his bone and his flesh and see what your Mr. Job does." "All right," the Lord said, "I'll put him in your hands, only save his life." Then Satan smote poor Job with boils from the soles of his feet to the crown of his head. I reckon that was the worst case of boils anyone ever heard of, and Job's wife remarked, "Do you still retain your integrity? Curse God and die." "Woman," Job said, "you are a fool. Shall we receive good at the hands of God and not evil?" But when those pals of Job's, Eliphaz, Bildad and Zophar, came to see him, he let out quite a beef to them and in fact cursed the day he was born. In the end, however, after listening to discourses from his pals of a length that must have made him as tired as the boils, Job humbly confessed that God is omnipotent and omnipresent and repented his former utterances and demeanour in dust and ashes. And the Lord made him more prosperous than ever before. Why me? Therefore have I uttered that I understood not, things too wonderful for me, which I knew not. The doctor knows best. A man has a pain in a certain spot. It isn't a severe pain. It isn't an incapacitating pain, but it is nonetheless a pain. The man goes to a doctor. "Doc," he says, "I've got a kind of a pain." So the doctor examines him. He takes the man's temperature, feels his pulse. He looks down the man's throat. He listens to the man's chest. He tests his reflexes. The doctor finds nothing. He gives the man some simple remedy and tells him that ought to do the trick. The man is back in a few days. "Doc," he says, "that pain is still there. I don't feel so good." The doctor makes another examination. He has the man go to an X-ray fellow for a few takes of his teeth and his interior. The doctor puts the exposures on a rack and gazes at them intently. He sees nothing. He lets the man look at them. The man does not see anything either. Then the doctor gives the man a diathermic treatments. He gives him vitamin pills and vitamin hypodermics. The needles hurt the man like hell. "How are we today?" the doctor asked the man on the man's next visit. The doctor is not taking the needles himself, so he has no call to cut himself in on the man suffering with that "we." "Doc," the man says, "the pain is still there. I don't feel so good." Now the doctor puts the man on a strict diet. He tells him to stop smoking and drinking and to cease doing all the other things the man enjoys. "Doc," the man says, "that pain is still there." The doctor commences to resent the man's attitude. He commences to hate the very sight of the man's kisser. So do his office attendants. They look at one another knowingly when he appears for his treatments. When the man's friends ask the doctor what's the matter with the man, the doctor shrugs his shoulders. He purses his lips. He smiles slightly. He as much as says there is nothing the matter with the man. The man is observed taking one of the pills the doctor ordered. "He's always taking pills," the observer remarked. "He's a hypochondriac." His doctor can't find a thing wrong with him. Now, if the man has had a good break from life and remains a bachelor, he is not in such bad shape. But if he has the misfortune to be married, he is in an awful fix because his wife and family are more difficult to convince that he has a pain than the doctor. They resent his attitude even more than the doctor. "I've still got that pain," he says to his wife.
"It's just your imagination,"
she says. "You never look better in your life. You mustn't give way to every little ache that comes along. Think of all the suffering in the world. I'm really the one that ought to be in bed." "I don't feel so good," the man says.
"Nonsense,"
his wife says. So the man finally hauls off and gives up the ghost. He ups and dies. His wife and family are astonished and indignant. Well, the man's friends say. He wasn't looking any too well the last time he was around, and he was complaining about a pain too. Must have been something radically wrong with the old boy at that. The doctor is in a bit of a huff about the man dying that way. No life. You have been noticing an uneasy sensation in region of the Derby Kelly, and the croaker says it looks to him like it might be, well, nothing serious. If you are careful about what you eat and take these here powders. All right, Doc. Careful is the word from now on. Thanks. Wait a minute. No orange juice. What? No orange juice, Doc? Always have orange juice for breakfast. No orange juice. Okay, Doc, that's going to be tough, but grapefruit is just as good. No grapefruit either. No acids. No grapefruit. Say, what does a guy do for breakfast, Doc? Cereals. Don't like cereals, Doc. No syrup. You don't mean a little sorghum on wheat cakes, do you, Doc? No sorghum, no wheat cakes, no sugar. You don't mean no sugar in the coffee, Doc, just a couple of spoons a cup? Yes, and no coffee. Now look, Doc, you don't mean no coffee at all. No coffee. Say, Doc, that's all right about no sugar, but you must be kidding about no coffee at all. No coffee. Not even a couple of cups a meal, Doc? Why, that's just a taste. No coffee. Doc, that ain't human. No candy. Not even a little bitsy box of peppermints at the movies, Doc? No peppermints, no ice. You ain't talking about a tiny dab of banana ice cream, are you, Doc? The kind that goes down so slick. Yes, no sweets at all. No highly spiced stuff. No herring. What kind, Doc? Any kind. No herring. But you don't mean a little of that chef special, Doc, the kind with the white sauce on it? No herring. Not even Matt J's, Doc? No herring. Well, all right, Doc. No herring. Gefilte fish will have to do. No gefilte fish. No goulash. What kind of goulash, Doc? Hungarian. Any kind. No salami. No highly seasoned Italian food. I never eat that more than a couple of times a week anyway. I'll take a lobster fra diavolo now and then. None of that. Are you sure about the herring, Doc? There must be some kind that... All right. No herring. It's a conspiracy. Whoever heard of a little herring hurting anyone? Why, Doc, people have been eating herring for years and it's never bothered them. No herring! Well, all right, no herring after tonight and tomorrow. What's this list, Doc? It's your diet. Follow it closely. Bet there ain't anything on it a guy can eat, Doc. It's terrible. You were just kidding about the coffee, weren't you, Doc? No coffee. Can you imagine a guy trying to live without coffee? What? You can't? And no cigarettes. Doc, the guy might as well be dead, hey? Good night. Well, Ben, here I am again. Gosh, I feel tough. What's the matter now? I ache all over. I think I've got a fever. Gosh, I feel tough. I'm not surprised. You can't stand it anymore, old boy. Stand what? Staying out all night and eating what you please and when you please. So what has that got to do with the way I feel? I've picked up a germ or something somewhere. Well, that's because your physical resistance to germs is weakened from staying out all night and eating indiscriminately. You ought to know better. My physical resistance is all right. This is some kind of germ that has nothing to do with staying out and eating. Say, why don't you have more covers? You haven't got enough blankets on to make a boxing glove for a bumblebee. I've got as many as usual. Well, look how I'm shivering. That's because your resistance is low, I tells you. I guess I need a doctor. It doesn't make any difference whether you need one or not. You'll have him. I wish you would get one that doesn't dump himself down on me when he's looking you over. I'm a little tired myself from the way you tossed around last night and hollered. What was I hollering about? How do I know? You kept hollering, "Take that." Oh, I remember. I was dreaming I was a prize fighter and was knocking Joe Louis out. I guess it was the knackwurst and sauerkraut I ate before I came home. Knackwurst and sauerkraut, eh? And you wonder why you don't feel good. Why, that's enough to kill a donkey. See here, bed. Knackwurst and sauerkraut don't make your bones ache and give you a fever. My chest is sore too. I may be getting pneumonia. Gosh, I feel tough. I'm afraid I'm in for a siege. My goodness, I hope not. Why? Don't you like my company? Oh, your company is all right, but I enjoy it more a little at a time. Then I'm not in so much danger. What do you mean, danger? Well, I have to constantly be on guard against being destroyed by fire from those cigarettes you're always smoking. When I think of the narrow escapes I've had, it makes my pillows shiver. You shouldn't smoke cigarettes when you're sick anyway. Say, a fella has to do something. He can't just lie still all day and night, can he? You certainly don't anyway. You keep me in constant torment by kicking around and getting my sheets all knotted up. Your constant groaning is most disturbing too. Say, I seem to have a lot of faults, don't I? Oh, I won't say anything about the soup stains you get on me when you're having your meals off a tray, but I wish you would be more careful about the breadcrumbs. They are really most annoying. Another thing, your language is at times slightly offensive. Listen here, Bed. Maybe I'd better go to a hospital and be sick if you're going to be so critical. You wouldn't like it. They would turn the lights out on you early and wouldn't let you do so much reading. You couldn't have the radio turned on all the time either. By the way, why do you keep switching from station to station every few minutes instead of listening to one program all the way through? Well, that's because I'm always trying to find torch music when I'm sick. It makes me feel better. I wish Ukelele Ike was always on the radio singing "It Had to Be You" when I'm sick. Gosh, I feel tough. Say, Bet, how does typhoid fever start? Oh, you haven't got typhoid fever. If you've got anything, it's probably just a little cold. Is that another cigarette? And didn't I hear you groan? Well, I can see that I'm in for it again. Oh, my goodness. Send for the doctor. Gosh, I feel tough.
But they wouldn't do. And nobody else gave me a thrill. With all your faults, I love you still. It had to be you, wonderful you, had to be you.
Death pays a social call. Death came in and sat down beside me, a large and most distinguished looking figure in beautifully tailored soft white flannels. His expansive face wore a big smile. "Oh, hello," I said. "Hello, hello, hello. I was not expecting you. I have not looked at the red board lately and did not know my number was up. If you will just hand me my caddy and my code, I will be with you in a jiffy." "Tut, tut, tut," Death said. "Not so fast. I have not come for you. By no means." "You haven't?" "No," Death said. "Then what the hell are you doing here?" I demanded indignantly. "What do you mean by barging in here without even knocking and depositing your fat Francis in my easiest chair without so much as by your leave?" "Excuse me," Death said, taken aback. "I was in your neighbourhood and all tired out after my day's work, and I thought I would just drop in and sit around with you a while and cut up old scores. It is merely a social call, but I guess I owe you an apology at that for my entrance." "I should say you do." "Well, you see, I am so accustomed to entering doors without knocking that I never thought. If you like, I will go outside and knock and not come in until you answer." "Look, you can get out of here and stay out of here. Screw, bum." Huge tears rolled down both pudgy cheeks and splashed on his white silk-faced lapels. "There it is again," he sobbed. "That same inhospitable note wherever I go. No one wants to chat with me. I'm so terribly lonesome. I thought surely you would like to punch the bag with me a while. I declined to soften up. Another thing, what are you doing in that get-up? You're supposed to be all in black. You're supposed to look somber, not like a Miami Beach winter tourist. Why? I got tired of wearing my old working clothes all the time. Besides, I thought these garments would be more cheerful and informal for a social call. Well, beat it. Just duffy out of here. You need not fear me, Death said. I do not fear you, deathy old boy, but you are a knock to me among my neighbours. Your visit is sure to get noised about and cause gossip. You know you are not considered a desirable character by many persons, although, mind you, I am not saying anything against you. Oh, go ahead, Death said. Everybody else puts the zing on me, so you might as well too. But I did not think your neighbours would recognise me in white. Although, come to think of it, I noticed everybody running to their front door and grabbing in their welcome mats as I went past. Why are you shivering if you do not fear me? I am shivering because of that clammy chill you brought in with you. You lugged the atmosphere of a Frigidaire around with you. You don't tell me? I must correct that. I must pack an electric pad with me. Do you think that is why I seem so unpopular wherever I go? Do you think I will ever be a social success? I am inclined to doubt it. Your personality repels many persons. I do not find it as bad as that of some others I know, but you have undoubtedly developed considerable sales resistance to yourself in various quarters. Do you think it would do any good if I hired a publicity man? I mean, to conduct a campaign to make me popular? It might. The publicity men have worked wonders with even worse cases than yours. But see here, D, I'm not going to waste my time giving you advice and permitting you to linger on in my quarters to get me talked about. Kindly do a scram-ola, will you? Death had halted his tears for a moment, but now he turned on all faucets, crying, "Boo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo! I am so lonesome," he said between lachrymose heaves. "Git," I said. "Everybody is against me," Death said. He slowly exited, and as I heard his tears falling plop, plop, plop to the floor as he passed down the hallway, I thought of the remark of Agag, the king of the Amalekites, to Samuel just before Samuel mowed him down. Surely the bitterness of death is past. The end.
I wandered around, finally found somebody who could make me be true, could make me be blue, or even be glad, just to be sad, thinking of you. Some others I've seen might never be me, might never be cross.
Is that you, Death?
But they wouldn't do.
Yes, love.
Perfect timing, dinner's on the table.
Beautiful. What did you cook?
Herring!